everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. I had an interesting question this week from Chandra about going to Antonelli Institute, which is actually where I graduated photography school from. It's a 2-year technical degree, and whether or not she thinks that it was worth it. Good morning, Greg. My name is Chandra. I follow you on YouTube. I love your videos and your photographs. I saw that you attended Antonelli, and I was thinking of going there myself. I love photography. I have a passion of mine. I've been told that I have an eye and talent, but there's a lot I need and want to learn. I was wondering if you could tell me if it was worth the money to attend Antonelli. Can you tell me about your experience while attending? Any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day. Sincerely, Chandra. Well, Chandra, here is my experience at Antonelli. It was awesome all the way through. The number one thing for me is I needed somewhere I could easily commute to. If I live out in the suburbs, out in Chester County, and so I was able to drive there, my 3 or 4 times a week while I was still working full time. They worked around my schedule, allowed me to kind of pick and choose the classes and teachers that I wanted to work with. That was huge for me to be able to kind of set my own schedule a little bit because I was still working full time plus to be able to pay for everything. I didn't have the luxury of having parents that were able to pay for all of my schooling and that kind of thing. Yes, I had some loans, but it wasn't enough to pay for the entire deal. The experience overall was excellent. I attribute it to a lot of my success, and I really do not believe I would be where I am today without going to Antonelli. I think I'd be way, way far behind if I had not gone. Some of the experiences that I had and the teachers, I think, are the big plus when it comes to Antonelli. Drew Simcox is still the admissions officer at Antonelli. He is one of the biggest influences to me while I was there at Antonelli. He is a very high energy guy, always kind of a go get 'em, let's get it done, pushing you kind of a person. And that's exactly what you need when you're, a younger kid. I was 20, 21, 22 when I was there. So I was a little older than everybody else, which was fine and actually worked to my advantage. But then again, I've also always been a little bit more on the mature side when I was a kid. Or teenager, I should say, put it that way. But it was, he really knew how to push you and how to kind of push the right buttons. He taught at that time, I don't know what he's teaching now, at that time he taught a lot of the photojournalism classes, which I didn't take, everybody took just about all of those classes, and that really wasn't quite my thing, but I still learned things from Drew, like how to shoot quickly, how to keep things moving, how to get work done and move along. And again, he helps you with placement, that kind of thing, how to get your work out there. Those are all things that I really learned from Drew. Another big influence while I was at Antonelli was Ed Marco. Ed was at the time, I don't know if he's still working there or not, Ed was at the time teaching the product photography and kind of the still life, I should say just product, I guess, at the time. A lot of what I learned from Ed was the consistency of images and how to consistently produce a good image one after another, and that is very important. If someone comes to you and says, look, I need to create an image, the same image, time after time, you need to be able to do that. And if you don't know how to see the light or know how to reproduce that image, whether it's the composition or any of those parts and pieces, you're not going to be able to get that job. They're not going to come back to you. And that's why as a professional, or one of the reasons as a professional, I'm able to be consistent because of Ed and what I learned from Ed. The next person was Randy. Randy taught the portrait photography, and he taught me a lot about lighting, a lot about posing, a lot about setting people up, getting a good feeling image when it comes to posing. I think that was just super important. Just to be able to not overpose, but to be just posed enough so that it makes the whole image work. Kind of like that article that I mentioned 2 weeks ago in my Keep Shooting Monday video. Anyway, Someone else that was a big influence was Todd Murray. Todd is still teaching there. I actually saw him at their 75th anniversary about a month ago. Kim and I had gone. Anyway, they had a gallery showing. He's still there. At the time, he was teaching fashion photography. And the cool thing about Todd is that he knows how to kind of push that envelope and inside of an image. And there's a way to do that that's good, and there's a way to do that that's bad. Todd really stressed being able to do that when it is good. And so that was really important, and something, again, that I still apply today. All these lessons that I learned from these guys at Antonelli, teachers at Antonelli, I'm still applying today, and I'm, eternally grateful for those people to allow me to make my living from photography. But it's only because I learned all these things from these 4 people. Now, as far as the school itself, another really cool thing about it is the fact that you're there with a community of other photographers. Not only are the teachers pushing you and you are pushing yourself to get good work, you're also in a competition with the other photographers, with the other students that are there. So it's not just, it's just a different setting. When you're at home, when you're learning for yourself, or you're going to one of those online schools, it's just not the same. But when you're in there in a community 3 or 4 days a week, 5 days a week maybe, with the other students, and you're pushing one another, you're learning from one another, and you're seeing things, you're exposed to that kind of, I don't know what the word is, but that little world there, it's just completely different, and you cannot replace that. And so that's those are, I think, my major points when it comes to Antonelli and schools in general. I understand that Antonelli is not going to be the number one school for everyone. There might be a couple other around the country, or excuse me, around the world, that might be better for you or for others. And I understand that, but definitely give Antonelli a try. See if it is the right school for you. It was definitely the right school for me. I am very glad that I went to Antonelli Institute, and I am very glad to say that I am an Antonelli Institute of Photography graduate. Made a big difference in my life, and it still is paying dividends back. So any other questions or anything, I'd love to hear them. Gives you a little bit of background about me. By the way, when I got out of, I was working in a camera store in high school. I thought I'd give you a little more background. I was working in a camera store in high school. Then while I was working at that camera store, I actually started working for a wedding and portrait photographer. I left the camera store, started working for them. Worked for them for about 2 years, something like that. I said, you know what, this is really something I want to do, and I should apply myself and go farther. That's where I decided to go to Antonelli. I started researching schools. I had looked at the Art Institute, but it was all the way in the city, and just commuting there, and it just didn't work. I didn't think that the community was as strong with the Art Institute as it was with Antonelli. That's why I ended up choosing Antonelli, and I stuck there. Once again, I am very glad that I did. So, huge testimonial for Antonelli. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or anything, please let me know. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See you.